Alright guys, so let me just go ahead and get started. First of all, I got the reload animation, splaying, and the fire animations, so that's all replicated properly now. Second of all, there's a bug related to dropping two items, trying to draw two items from the holsters, and then whenever you tried to pick up items, it wouldn't let you. So that was fixed. Another issue that was brought to my attention, well, actually I found this one, but it was related to some that were brought to my attention. But if you had a left-handed item in your hand and you tried to traverse and you pulled out the rifle right as you got to the top, it would still pull out the last pistol, and it wouldn't put the rifle away. I'll explain to you why. It basically has to do with some things I'm kind of bypassing with this one function that I'm doing, but I'll go over all of that and the changes and why I made them. So yeah, also if you tried to pull out an item while you were coming up, it would pull, I don't know, it would do something. Somebody was telling me. I do believe that's fixed now. Even if I spam it, it still doesn't seem to break it, so that's good. But if you get to the top and you, so if you get to the top and you decide you want to pull out an item, then you can. Let me see. If you time it right and you do it before the auto holster, So if you time it right and you pull it out before the auto equip, then it'll let you pull it out, and it won't cause any problems. It'll cancel out the auto equip basically. So actually there was also another issue. The root bone release wasn't being replicated, and a lot of you guys aren't going to like that in your replicated version. But a lot of people were complaining to me about it not being able to aim fast enough, and I can't please everybody. I'll explain to you a way to go back. I'll explain to you how you can go back to the way it was. The way it was actually similar to the way Once Human has their aim offset set up. So I noticed that whenever I was turning, they were actually slowing down my camera turn rate to match the character animation turn rate, so that I would not outpace the character's ability to turn. That seems to be triggered whenever we start to turn beyond the limit of 90 degrees, which is basically the way I had it set up before, except I wasn't slowing down the camera turn rate. So that's one way you can address that. Otherwise, like if you want hypersonic, unrealistic human turn speeds, then you're going to be hard pressed to do it without foot sliding. I will explain to you though. What you can do is you can remove this binding right here from the max rotation error. That's basically the max rotation limit, counter rotation limit. So it'll counter rotate your character to make it look like he's not rotating, but he is. So if you set that value to -1, then it'll go back to how it was. So that's how you can do that. So also, if you go to the foot placement planning settings, you'll see I have these temp values set up again. Before, it had a lock type. They had foot locking enabled. I've disabled it because when you play a montage, for some reason, the feet will start sliding back and then they'll snap forward and then they'll start sliding back again, rinse and repeat, and it'll do it over and over again while you're idle. And I think that's because the foot locking is enabled only while you're idle. So I'm not sure if that's a problem with the montages yet or if it's an actual bug with the foot locking, but I'm leaning towards a bug in the foot locking. So I'll still look into that later when I have more time on my hands. That's the only changes that I've done in the animation blueprint, just this foot locking stuff, but I wanted to explain to you too how you could disable that other stuff. That wasn't replicated before because once release root was not replicated. So now that's being replicated. You could also disable that by just disconnecting this or just deleting all of this. So that's up to you. What this does is it enables it only if you're moving above, only if you're rotating your mouse and you're aiming. So that's the only time the root gets released. So the on traversal end for the traversal bugs, I'll go over how I fix that. So whenever the traversal is over, if we should auto holster and we're not traversing, then it'll reset that and then it'll do an auto equip. I added this logic here. It checks to make sure that the hands are empty. If the hands are not empty, it will not try to auto equip. Over here, there's a bug where I had this hooked up right here. And what was happening is, if we were only holding an item previously in the left hand, then it would pass the left hand item off as the first actor and second actor. So I added this to make sure that didn't happen. That was being passed to this draw to holstered items by actor. And now this is a safe function that's going to check to make sure that we're not busy currently. Because we don't want to, normally we don't want to interrupt to the logic, the flow of logic, if this is still executing stuff. So this one is private now. So if you were calling this on your own, in your own blueprints and stuff, you're going to have to call this safe actor now, the safe version, which is public. Inside of here, I'm doing some extra checks on the handle second item. And basically, I'm just getting the first item's information, and I'm checking to see if either one of those requires a free hand. If either one of those requires a free hand, we are not going to try to equip the second item. So that's the change I made there. So over on the held object master, there's just one change I made. And that was if we interrupted this logic, then the safe exit event fires under the item handling montage canceling stuff on the event graph. And that's just going to do a multicast, which is only going to clear this because the rest of the stuff right here is actually being updated for everybody whenever they play the montage. So there was just a little thing where it wouldn't clear the clients, and then when the clients would call this R items being handled function, it would check that variable, and those variables were never being cleared because it was being interrupted. And so basically, yeah, that's what was happening. This would always be false. And so it would never let us play the montages. The only other change I made on this was this update mesh. That way all clients have a valid reference to the current mesh. And I'm also calling that on the client that initiated it right here because we need to see if there's a montage that's currently active. And if so, we have to make sure it's not the reload action because we don't want to interrupt the reload action. So let's see, I think that basically covered it. There was one, so there was one other thing that I fixed already, and I went over in the Discord. Where was that? I think it was on the slot manager. Yeah, okay. Let me see if I can find this. Sorry, guys. I'm kind of, let's see. Okay, yeah, I think I remember where it was. Sorry. Let me see. I know how to get to it. Yeah. Here we go. So over here on the event graph, 2 items handling, handle 2 items by config. Right here, if this ever failed for whatever reason, we were not resetting this and we weren't doing anything. So now this is going to make sure this IsBusy is reset. And also I hooked up, so I hooked up the safety timer again. So now the safety timer will be active, and that's going to happen every 5 seconds, but it shouldn't ever actually happen where you have to wait on the safety timer. If you ever do, let me know. But I do believe I've gotten all of that stuff out of the way. So yeah, that's basically it. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next video.